My name is Gwendolyn Gillette. I am the head of social media at Rewrite and Rise and our head AI developer. And so I'm going to be talking to you today about how to do marketing in the 21st century. And so it's a little bit different than ad strategy. It's about using organic content. And so before I get into that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my journey and how I got here and why I have to talk to you about this. So origin story. So to tell you this, I've got to rewind 9 years ago to when this all started, right? So back in 2014, I was into bodybuilding. And one of the reasons I was into bodybuilding is because I thought that that was how you needed to become an influencer. This was back when Instagram was just starting to become a thing and fitness models were huge, fitness influencers were huge. And so I thought that that was the secret to growing on social media, right? These were some of the people I followed at the time, huge accounts, right? They're getting tons of influence. And I'm like, you know what? I want to do that. I think that I can do that. And then I started seeing school friends, and they were growing on social media. Okay.
No, you're good. No, you're good.
Okay, and they were growing on social media. And so I was like, you know what, I really want to do this. But then my boyfriend at the time was like, you know what, I'm really not comfortable with that. I don't think that you should do that. And so I just didn't try, right? And so then fast forward 1 year, and I'm like, you know what, it's a missed opportunity. And the growth wasn't really there. All the stuff that I was seeing about the strategy, people's accounts weren't growing as big. And I was like, well, I missed the opportunity. So I took a 5-year detour. I got a degree in engineering. I applied to med school, got into med school, decided not to go. That's a different story. And then I ended up accepting a job at a marketing company, right? And I was like, this is going to be great. It's an influencer-based marketing company. I'm finally going to get to create organic content, and I'm going to get to use social media to help brands grow, right? And that was a huge opportunity that I was really excited about. But then here is inside of the marketing company, right? These are documents that I was spending hours upon hours making. These are branding documents. It talks about brand messaging, brand imaging, all sorts of stuff that was going to take us over 3 to 4 months, which is not really what an entrepreneur needs when they don't have the revenue to grow their business. Okay. And this stuff cost a lot. Like, companies were paying us tons of money to just create these documents and then not actually execute on the things that they needed for quite some time. So I got a little bit fed up, and since I was inside of a marketing company, I had a little bit more confidence. I was like, you know what, I'm going to try this myself. So this is the first TikTok video that I ever posted. I didn't know it was going to play the sound, so we'll watch it. Okay, and so the biggest thing to notice is that we used a trend and then we told the audience the value that we were going to give them. So we'll talk about this in a little bit, but really it took me 1 week to get 20,000 views, 2K followers, and 2,000 likes. And this was with one video. And the average amount of followers that people have is between 150 and 1,000, right? So with one video, using the strategy that I'm going to show you, you're going to be able to get more followers and more engagement than the average person that's posting on Instagram or TikTok or whatever platform. Right, so I took this, actually, I don't want to go there yet, or we'll leave it there. So I took this back to the marketing company, and I'm like, you know what, I think that we should use this strategy that I've used in our videos. And I was doing marketing for this guy sitting in the front right here. He was one of our clients at the company. And I was like, I really think that we should use the strategy to better promote our clients and better deliver on converted views without charging them so much money. And they were not really buying it, right? If you have your own company and you have somebody inside that's kind of running rampant when it's not the strategic direction of where you're trying to go, it can actually be more harmful than helpful. So that was me at that time. So I left the company. I partnered with this guy right here. And he also had another partner that was already into marketing, had a marketing degree, was in the marketing space. And so I was like, you know what? It's not meant to be. I have a background in engineering. I'm going to start building AI. So I started building algorithms. So we own an AI company, and so I was building algorithms in the manufacturing space, which, if you didn't know, manufacturing and supply chain runs heavily on consumer data. So we were analyzing consumer data and social media data because it actually drives the market. We were also analyzing Bitcoin volatility and raw material availability, which are also heavily driven by the demand that the consumer creates. So I was using algorithms to be able to better analyze and create predictions within these spaces. And so I was looking at tons and tons of patterns that were happening on social media. And so I delegated marketing. This is flow chart that is debated by existence that we got from somebody, right? That is just essentially saying we're going to take a selfie video, we're going to post it to TikTok, we're going to upload it to Dropbox with no strategy. And I blocked out the name because I don't want to put anybody on blast, but it was like X person and Cody will write the copy the morning of. Somebody who's supposed to be the CEO of our company, doing all the business development, all of the sales for our company, is just going to write the video the morning of, and we're going to hope that that's going to work out well. So I was pretty displeased with this. So we hired a videographer, okay? And so these are the results we got from the videographer. So I'm going to tell you a couple times, stop posting horizontal videos on social media. You need to be posting 9x13 videos unless you're doing long form YouTube content. In 2 months, when TikTok releases long form videos, you can start posting horizontal videos again because there will be an option to flip the phone camera and people will actually be able to see. But until then, you don't need to be doing that. The algorithm down promotes your videos when you do things like this. And so if you can see, this video was posted in July of 2021. It only has 12 likes, which means it didn't rank at all for SEO. I took this picture like 30 days ago. So it didn't rank at all for SEO. And if you do the process that I'm going to show you, your videos should become evergreen. They should continue to grow over time so that you aren't wasting your time when you post these videos, right, for just 1 day of views. And so if you can see all of these, right, they're like 200, 300 views. And then we kept going. So I kept building algorithms and we kept posting. So when you watch the videos and you see that consistency is key, it is not key. You have to have strategy, and strategy beats consistency, right? Now, it doesn't mean that consistency can't win in the long run, but if you have consistency without strategy, you're just a fool. So I'm building algorithms, and we're not making the sales because we don't really have social proof in the market, right? We're a couple of young 20-year-olds, and people are like, why would I buy your algorithm or your technology or your platform when I can buy this already packaged thing, right? And they don't. There's different things about AI that make the AI on the market not as powerful, but we didn't really have the credibility to be doing that stuff. And so doing this stuff on social media can give you the social proof, whether you like it or not, to get to where you want to go. So I get burnt out, right? I'm like, I cannot possibly continue to build algorithms anymore. What are we going to do, right? We're going to lose our only developer. And so I tell him, I'm like, hey, I think that we could sell one of the algorithms that I built inside of your product and service if you just let me do marketing. And he's like, okay, like, let's give it a try. So just a reminder, this is what we looked like before, under 300 views on every single post, posting every single day for over a year, to this. We had a 10,000% growth rate in 30 days, and we grew to 60,000 followers with the strategy that I'm about to give you guys. And then within 60 days, we had 5.8 million targeted views, and our growth rate leveled out at 560%. And then within 90 days, we had about 83,000 followers and $11,000 in our bank account. And we were running on zero. Like, we had wasted all of the money that we had raised. We had wasted money on hiring mistakes, all sorts of things that went wrong, branding that we didn't need, which I'll get to in a second. And so this really changed everything for us. This allowed us to have the social proof that we needed to start bringing in the revenue we needed to survive. So now we're at 314,000 followers, and we continue to grow. And after the 90 days, when we hit 80,000 followers, we actually stopped posting because we had to take a break to manage the huge influx of growth that our community had. We had comments, we had DMs, we had outreach, we had book offers, we had news articles. We had a ton of stuff that we had to manage. And so all of this growth happened after the 90 days via SEO, meaning searchable content. We were not posting stuff, and this continued to come in, and it continues to happen for us. So what I'm going to go over with you guys is how to play. So there's a few rules to play on social media that you want to know so you don't get in trouble. We're going to talk about bottom-up branding, when to use branding, how to use branding. We're going to talk about viral modeling, which is a concept that I like to use to create videos so that they actually get where you need them to go. Social hacking is the SEO process that I've mentioned. We'll cover a quick do's and don'ts, and then we'll talk about where to start so that you guys are all ready to get started. So platforms. Here's the biggest thing to understand about this is that these icons can change and these numbers can change. But what you want to know about social media is think about it like oil mining. You want to be grabbing up land on these platforms as much as possible because it is the way of the future. You are going to start to see these networks become more and more localized, meaning it's going to be harder and harder to break in. And the influencers that own the land now are going to start to create the hierarchy. Whether they're PhDs or not, if they have more followers than you, you're going to be dependent on them to disseminate the information you want to those localized niches, right? With blockchain and all the things that are happening in the next 10 years, it's going to be much harder to break in. And so now is the time to do that. And so really quick, if I were a business, I would be on LinkedIn. Otherwise, I don't really focus on it. I think it's a little bit oversaturated and overused right now. But also, I think businesses fail because they forget that every single person inside of a business is a consumer, right? And all it takes is one internal champion in the right position to have viewed your content and seen your stuff to push through that business deal. And so don't cut out direct to consumer marketing. It's more valuable than you think. So if you're better at written content, I would focus on Twitter. If you're better at video content, I would focus on Instagram and YouTube Shorts. There's a lot of hype around TikTok. Some of the organic growth is leaving. You're going to see the last amount of organic reach through the end of this year. And then that's really going to change moving into the new year. So if you're going to start building, I would start on Instagram and YouTube Shorts. And then just make sure that you're turned on to have Instagram post to Facebook. Facebook, I wouldn't count it out yet. And so it doesn't take much to just turn that little toggle on so that your stuff is being posted to Facebook at the same time. So brand or creator? I get this question a lot. It took me a couple of years to figure this out, actually. So if you think about this, right? If you want to have a business account, that's fine. But you need to be paying the platform to run ads. And there's a very specific way that I will have people run ads. We're not going to have time to cover it today, but I'm happy to meet with you on it if you want to do so. But think about it like this. Creators feed the platform, right? So the creators are feeding the platform, which is causing the platform to have the audience it wants. So you as consumers, if you're not creators, you're on that platform to watch other creators. You're not necessarily on there to see a bunch of ads, right? So if you are a business account that's not paying the account money and you're not feeding the account in order to have other consumers on the app, then you're doing nothing for the platform and they're going to do nothing for you. So the best thing you can do is become a creator, right? The future is going to be people are going to be coders and people are going to be creators. And so if you're not one or the other, you're not going to have much leverage when it comes to future-proofing yourself. So if you're not a coder, then you should probably figure out how you can contribute value via being a creator. And even if you're an employee, you can end up doing fractionalized services later on or bringing in new revenue via brand deals. So it's always beneficial and it creates a huge support system. I know that you hear about people getting roasted and all these things, but people are a lot nicer than you would think, and it creates a huge community, and it's super valuable to do this. So I would always recommend growing as a creator. And then say you're an entrepreneur and you're like, well, I think that I want to sell my business for $500 million, so I don't want to be the face of it because I have an exit plan. That's great. You should probably still create a creator account and advise other entrepreneurs and then use that account to pull your brand, or you can do collaboration posts with your brand. And then you're going to need to do some type of influencer marketing where you reach out to people who are creators and who are influencers and get them to promote your brand as well. So that's also not something I'll have time to cover, but I'm happy to meet with you to cover that if you want to learn more about that. So rules. So this is how to play. You want to create platform-specific content. Think about going to a store and you ask the store hey, I want this pair of sunglasses. Do you have them? And they're like, oh, no, we're sold out. And then you're like, okay, well, do you know where I could buy them? And then the employee acts kind of weird and it's they know where you can get it, but they don't tell you. That's what this is like, right? Stop posting stuff on Instagram that has a TikTok logo. Instagram doesn't like that. You're telling your users to go somewhere else. And so Gary Vee has a great way to do this. It's just garyvee.com/64 in a day. And it just shows you how you can take the same exact piece of content and make it platform specific. So that's all just about packaging, right? You want to package it the right way for the platform you're going to put it on. Then automation hurts you. As much as people want to automate things, automation platforms don't do well and they're going to hurt your views because you're posting via an API. And if you think about these platforms, they don't want bots on the platforms. Guess what bots use to post? They use the API, right? So there's no way for them to differentiate. So if you want to automate, I recommend doing it after the 90-day plan I'm about to give you, because 90 days can get you to the growth that you need to absolutely change your life. And then once you do that, if you want to automate just to feed your community, that's a little bit different, right? But if you want to automate for growth, you're going to fail. And then 9x16 short form videos. If you want to post long form videos, that's fine. Post those horizontally. But if you want to post short form, do 9x16. And what you can actually do is, if you have high quality filmers, which I do recommend if you want to grow on Instagram, you can actually tape your screen so that you can see what you're cutting out when you're filming, if you want to make sure that you have a good crop for that 9x16. And then so 99 to 1. So a lot of people fail with organic content because they're trying to measure its value. Sometimes there are certain things that are immeasurable, and you can still use organic content to strategically create ads, and the ads is where you should measure what the organic content has done for you, right? And so people like Gary Vee or Mr. Beast or Logan Paul, they are successful because they do this 99 to 1 ratio. 99% is adding value to their community, and 1% is saying, buy my wine or buy my Mr. Beast sandwich or whatever, right? Burger, whatever it is. And then you should be doing 70% to 30% exploitation and exploration. So once you find something that works, that's exploitation. Do it over and over and over again. And you want to be doing it about 70% of the time. And then 30% of the time, you want to be exploring new things. So if you create content about sneakers, right? Just try creating content about sneakers to wear when you're pregnant, or fashion, high fashion sneakers, or street sneakers, or sportswear, right? That's your 30% of exploration, where you can start to grab other niches, because you will max out on certain niches if you do this correctly. Okay, so here's traditional branding. This is all the logos that I wasted time and money creating, and not a single one of these is our logo today, by the way. And we're actually going to change our logo again with one of the only people that I've ever thought to be an brand expert. She's right here in this room. Her name is Alex. She's amazing, and she's one of the only brand experts that I've ever met with that has talked about, like, hey, don't pick a font that they don't have on social media, because then it won't be consistent. That's smart. That's genius. If you're going to be doing branding, do it with somebody that knows what they're doing, and do it after you've done 90 days of testing. Because unless you've bought consumer insights, which are pretty expensive, you should do this to test your market, because as much as you think you know, you don't know. And until you've had millions of people interact with you and interact with your content, and you've changed the way that you communicate it, you don't actually know what values or colors or things you want to pull into your brand, right? And so this is just to show you all of the wasted time, more wasted brand documents and time, and just a few more. And so it's just, I really spent a lot of time thinking that this was important, and this contributed 0 sales to my business. Like, we got all of the followers on Cody's account. He was standing like this with a golf club. So nobody cared about our logo, and everybody buys our services from him. So bottom-up branding is about making platform-specific content to reach the audience you want, to test the topic or ideas you have, to bring more value to your brand values, and to your customers. Okay, and so this is what we're going to talk about today. So the key things are invoking curiosity, demand creation, and value exchange. So I'm going to start with value exchange. When you start posting free content, okay, so you're posting content that adds value to your audience in some way, whether that's education or entertainment, right? And you're posting content, so you're stacking value, you're stacking this up, and your audience views you as super valuable. And then the second that you ask for something, you cash that into 0. So it doesn't matter if you have 300,000 followers or that video got 1 million views. You ask them for something, you're at 0 to them, right? And so this is a huge part of learning how to play the game, is invoking curiosity. So a way to do that is, don't waste your cash in on saying, hey, TikTok followers, go to Instagram. That doesn't make any sense. All you need to do is link your Instagram to your TikTok. Don't put a link in your bio, because if you have 2 things for somebody to click on, the possibility that they click on the one drastically goes down. So you want to give them one option to click on. And then you want to invoke curiosity by clipping your content. So say you have a 15-second video, put 7 seconds of it on TikTok, and put the full video where you actually want them to go. Right? And you want them on Instagram, because then you can actually run ads against your followers there, and that's strategic, because then they're a warm lead, and then that makes sense, and your cost per click of your ad goes down. right? So that's a way that you want to invoke curiosity. Or if you have a membership, right? Show a behind the scene of what happens in the membership. Show a little bit of what you talk about in that membership. Give them like one strategy tip, but then leave out how to apply it. And then for them to apply it, they've got to buy your membership. And that's implied in the way you design the video. And then you do it all without asking anything. Okay. And that's what invoking curiosity is about. Demand creation is about the fact that, like, it doesn't matter if you've had a business for 3 to 5 years or you have a PhD in a subject. If you have 0 followers, your social proof is 0, right? And so what you need to do is you need to be able to promote the people who are considered experts on the platform. So like for us, Cody's a neuroscientist. And so when we first started, we started creating content like about Dr. Andrew Huberman, right? He's a neuroscientist. He's got Huberman Labs that works with Stanford. And so we're like, hey, when he creates this content, this is actually what he means, and here's how you can apply it to your life. And so then guess what? When people search Andrew Huberman, your video comes up because you're feeding the algorithm. And then as you gain followers, people start to view you as an expert. So you curate content to create demand for your own things by using people who already have demand around them. Does that make sense? So then this is the process. You want to search for trends and news. Like you want to be doing current events and current topics. A lot of people fail because they do what they think is interesting and not what's relevant to their audience, okay? And so this is a high level. We'll go into a little bit more tactical here in a second. But you want to create platform-specific content to test your topics and copy. So I would recommend, like, if you're going to do a 30-day sprint, you want to have 3 different, like, niches that you want to test out. So for us, it was, like, NLP, like, under your umbrella. So our umbrella niche is mental health, right? And so our target niche that we were going to test is NLP and modeling. And then we tested high-functioning anxiety and ADHD. And then we tested trauma. And so we did that for a week at a time. Because if you start mixing and matching, then you're hitting the algorithm in the wrong way and it doesn't know who to push your content out and it'll penalize you for that. And so you want to test those things out and then you want to do it on 3 platforms. Because like, unless you're going to be super deep in the strategy like I am, you're not really going to know where the organic growth is at and what's happening. You can watch what's going on in the economy to predict some of these things. TikTok's about to release brands on their platform, so that's going to saturate their platform, so the organic reach is going to go away, right? Instagram is trying to compete with TikTok, so right now they have organic reach. So if you don't want to have to keep up with all of those things, just post it to the 3 platforms, and you'll be able to see after 30 days, okay, where did I grow the most? And that should be your primary platform. And there's different audiences on each platform. So don't assume you know something because your stuff could actually be hitting a different target audience on one platform and hitting a completely different target audience on another. And then you're going to miss out on both of those things because you assumed that you knew, right? And so then you want to survey, poll, and engage your audience. So in the first 30 days, once you start gaining those followers, don't go right over to click on my website. You don't know if the copy on your website works, right? And it's expensive and it takes a lot of time to redesign a website. Put up a survey. Ask your people, you know, what's the number one thing you're trying to achieve? What's your biggest obstacle to achieving it? And what have you tried in the past? And then you will get their words for how they describe your problem, right? Because if there's one thing I want you to take from this, it's that most people don't actually have that bad of ideas. They just don't know how to communicate them to people in the way they need to be communicated to. And so that's what social media can help you do really well. And so then once you've done that, you want to pull up what works, like what got the most views, what got your offer clicked, what converted, right? Where did you grow the most? And so that's what you want to pull up. And then that's the time that you want to do your branding and create that brand. So here's what this looks like. I'm just a visual person. So you want to be creating like 2 to 3 short form pieces of content per day and then posting them on the platforms that are relevant to you. I just have them all here, but we don't actually post to all of them. And then make sure, like, once you've done your survey step, and if you don't want to move people to Instagram, that you're collecting those emails, because platforms can go away and they can shift and change. Your account can get shadow banned. So many things can happen. And so you want to make sure you have an email list, because that's where you want to be doing your ask or your selling. People are more used to that. They get less upset by it. So that email list, we use texting and actually converts better. But you're welcome to do email. But just be collecting that so that you get use over what you're doing over this time. So again, within 90 days, this is what we were looking at. 80,000 followers and money in our bank account after not being able to sell stuff for quite some time. So the initial process is you're going to pick a platform to search on. So maybe that's TikTok for you, right? So that's the platform that you want to do all your searches on. You want to do a topic per week. So if you are going to do narcissistic abuse, start searching that on TikTok and find the topics that are trending on that platform for that, like for that niche. And then make content about that, post it to 3 platforms that you're going to pick, whether that is Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Facebook, whatever it is for you. Pick just 3 to focus on, because I know this can be overwhelming, and then post as much as you can. If it's once a day, it's going to take you about 48 days to feed the algorithm enough for the algorithm to say, okay, this person is going to post content consistently. If you're going to post twice a day, it only takes about 28 days. So don't give up. If those are your timelines, and then once you get through that, then you can really start posting as little or as much as you want, because the algorithm knows and trusts that you're going to curate content for it. And then after 30 days, check which platform did you grow the most on, what topic got the most views. So again, for us, we grew the most on TikTok. We were posting to Instagram and YouTube. And then we also got the most engagement on trauma. So then we niched into trauma. So then in the next, after that, right, you should have your platform, your customer segment, and you should test your offer. So that's when we started surveying our clients and testing different offers about how we communicate about trauma. And that's when we found that most of our followers are actually suffering from some type of narcissistic abuse, right? And then through surveying them, we actually found that it doesn't matter if we create copy about, hey, you need to heal yourself, because most people who have been through this are actually just worried that it's going to happen to their kids. And so then we changed our offer copy to say, hey, the best way to actually help heal your kids is through learned observation. And so that's to heal yourself. And so we just changed the way we communicated. We changed nothing about our service offering, and we were able to bring in a ton more sales and get a ton more engagement. And so you should be doing offer copy testing for another 60 days while you're still posting to those other platforms, because the organic reach changes. So while we did this for the 60 days, we saw at the end of the 60 days that the reach had actually moved to Instagram. So now we're growing our Instagram. So we switched our strategy, but we still post content now to TikTok. We just search Instagram now instead. So just look at your analytics, and you'll be able to see, if you look every 30 days, be patient, it takes time. And you're able to see, like, okay, what resonated, which platform did we grow, what topic, and then you just keep going through that. And so after that, you should really be able to start nurturing your community. You can stop posting if you want for a little while, because you should have enough followers that you have so much engagement that you probably need some systems and processes to be able to serve your clients now at this time, right? For us, we absolutely did. And so bottom-up branding is really just about increasing passive sales, creating long-term admiration, and having value and value alignment with your customer segments and your users. Okay. And so we were doing this, and we were posting pretty consistently, and we were using my process, and we were testing different topics based on using trending topics, right? But we were still getting varying results. So if you can see there, we have some videos that are at 20,000 views, some that are at 10, and some that are at like 7. So for me, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. That wasn't really good enough for me. And so consistent results is what I was looking for. So all of these videos have above 15,000 views. So some have 500,000, 116,000. And so that's how I created this process called viral modeling, which we're going to talk about right now. So viral modeling really gets you to that 4.7 million view mark. So when we first did this, we had 2 million views, and then all the rest of the views actually came through SEO. So our viral part was 2 million. The SEO part of the consistent evergreen of the video was another 2.6 million, and this continues to grow. We got 4 news articles written on this post alone, and then we got asked to write 2 additional news articles from this post. So what that's done for our business, for our credibility in the space, has been absolutely huge for us. And so what that looks like is you're going to want to make a keywords list and a creators list. So I'm happy to help you with this. I'll give you a QR code to book time with me. But what you want to do is write down any keywords that you think are associated with your brand or your business. Maybe it's your past self, whatever you want to create content on. And then once you start making those keywords, you want to search and start to realize, okay, what creators are coming up that I constantly see producing content under these keywords. And you want to look which ones have 100,000 followers or less. Because if they have over 100,000 followers, they're considered to be like an influencer within the space. And so you can't actually trust the viral part of their video because it's doing something different in the algorithm. So you want them to have 100,000 or less. And then you're going to end up, once you have that creators list, every time you want to create content, I do this once a week, I start to search that creators list. And so I go look at like 3 creators and I say, okay, what videos of theirs went viral in the last 30 days? And then I model the aspects of that video. So that's the lighting, the background, the sound, the text, how much text, and the description. So as much as you want to be creative on the platform, algorithms can't sort things that they can't identify. So when you are more creative, it can hurt you when it comes to growing on social media because an algorithm isn't a person, right? So that's what you have to understand. And so if you have a hard time scripting stuff, if you're like, okay, Gwen, this is great, but I don't know what to say in my video, then you can use your keywords list. And so you can search videos that have gone viral under your keyword, pull the script from that video, and apply the script to the model, right? Where you have a different background, a different lighting. Don't copy the script exactly, add your 2 cents to it. People don't like when you copy them. It's, you know, it's not a good way to grow. I don't think it has good karma, but you can intersect those things so that you can create content that the algorithm knows how to sort and you get targeted views, right? Because sometimes you can put something out and it goes viral, but nobody that you needed to see it saw it, right? So that's useless for you. So again, this is another video we did viral modeling with. We got 1 million views at first. The 2 million additional views came from the SEO process we're about to go over. But this was just 5 things I'd never do as an ICU nurse. That's what came up on the trends list that I was looking at. And then another creator that was on our creators list had 5 things I would never do like as a news reporter. And so we did 5 things I'd never do as a neuroscientist. We got 2 articles written on this one and a book offer from this one. So this has done huge things and is going to do huge things for us. So now let's talk about the SEO process. I call this social hacking. So if you take nothing from this presentation, take number 1. These are in order of importance. Number 1 is topic. Having a trending topic or a current topic that is relevant to your niche is half of the battle. It's like 90% of the battle, actually, right? And then you want to make sure you rank for those keywords in SEO. So pick a topic that is relevant to your niche, and then you want to do the hook, right? So you want to have a hook within 3 to 7 seconds, and you want to be re-hooking people in the middle of your video. Okay, most people drop off of a video within the first 7 seconds. And so the viral modeling concept should show you how to do a hook, right? You should take the hook from the viral video that you model. And if you don't know how to do a hook, all you have to do, take the first 3 seconds of your video, chop it out, and put it at the end. Okay, because now you're right in the middle of a sentence. People are going to be like, wait, what is this? They've listened to that. And then at the end, the video loops because it's actually the start of your video. And so then they've watched your video 2 times before they've even noticed. And guess what that does for the algorithm to push out your video? It really, really likes that. You just got 150% watch time. That's great, right? So if you don't know how to do it, you can do it strategically with editing. Then, so number 3 can be interchanged with authentic content. I recommend doing 2 to 1. So make 2 viral model videos for 1 authentic piece of content. And when you make the authentic piece of content, make sure you're making it on a relevant topic and that you have some form of hook, right? And then go down the list. So number 4 is watch and watch time. Watch stands for watch your keywords. And so what that means is you want to make sure that you say the keyword in the video. You want to say it in the title. You want to say it in your hook. You want to say it in your text. You want to say it in your caption and in your hashtag. That's 6 times that you've told the algorithm, please send me to this niche, to this target audience, okay? And you should get your keywords from your viral modeling or from what other creators are using, right? Because those have a ton of different views, right? Narcissistic relationship versus narcissistic relationships, plural, has about 1 billion different views in reach of target audience, okay? And then certain target audience prefer to use the word narc, right? So for us, our niche is narcissistic abuse, and so that's a little bit different. And so we have different videos targeting different keywords. And so those are the things you want to look for when you're creating this. And then watch time, we talked about this. You want to get at least a 50% watch time, if not 80%. Otherwise, your video is not going to be pushed out. TikTok and YouTube have analytics that you can look at your video and see where somebody dropped off. So if they dropped off in the first 7 seconds, then you had a bad hook. If they dropped off in the middle, go figure out what you did and probably don't do that anymore, right? Because it's making people leave your page. So that's 1. And then number 5, so call to action. People drastically underestimate the amount that it can help your account have a call to action. And I don't mean go check out my Instagram or go buy my thing. What I mean is just follow my page, share my video, save this content for later. Those are the 3 you should be using, and you should do them right after your hook. So 3 to 7 seconds in, most people drop off within 50%. So don't save it for the end, because you've lost half the people to see your call to action, and people are so responsive to a call to action. I was talking to my friend the other day, and I showed her all of this stuff to grow, and she's like, Gwen, this is way too much. I can't do this. And I'm like, okay, just add a call to action in your content. And within 5 days, her channel doubled. So it is so powerful to just direct people on what you want them to do, and make sure you put the call to action in your hook and in your description. It's not enough to put it in one place. And then number 6, we're not really going to talk about this, but it's algorithm hacks. It's just to say that, like, when you see videos on YouTube that are like, post at this time, use this hashtag to grow, like, those account for maybe 2 to 3% of whether or not your video is successful. And if you create a shitty video, like, excuse my language, but if you create a crappy video, this will not save you. It won't save you at all. It won't matter. So just, you can disregard those things and focus on your topic, focus on your hook, and focus on your watch time, right? And then make sure no matter what you do, you're putting a call to action in your videos. So then again, this gave us, I want you to point out the dates, 5.8 million views in 60 days. And this was from, if you look at our analytics, from June 11th to August 9th. And so this is just to show you the difference. This ad was run from June 6th to August 3rd. If you Google what a good click-through rate for an ad, it's about 3 to 7%. Our click-through rate was 9.51. So we had a really good ad. It only got about 65,000 views. So this is the difference in what you're looking at when you can actually use organic growth on social media in a useful way. Because now that you actually have a following, you can actually retarget that following. Facebook just released something recently where you can target that following with ads, and now you're targeting warm leads instead of cold leads, and you'll get a much higher conversion from that. And you can use organic content to test which videos you should make ads. If a video didn't go viral, don't make it an ad. Don't put money behind it. Don't put money behind something you don't know if it's going to work out, right? There's such free resources for you to use this and for you to add value to your community that you should absolutely be using organic growth on social media. And so then this is just to show, don't count Facebook organic growth out. We grew by like 70,000 followers without even noticing. We just had that little toggle on to post reels to our Facebook. And then one day Cody was like, did you know that we had these followers on Facebook? I was like, no. So now we have this community to service and engage with. And so that's great. And now we can actually run ads against this lookalike audience, and people email us to try and run ads against our audience. So we're in the mental health space, so we don't actually let them. But if you're in a different space, like a product or service that it's not necessarily related to mental health and you don't mind running ads against your audience, it's another way that you can bring in revenue to yourself, is through something like this, right? Because you're the one with the leverage, you're the one with the power if you have the audience. So then this is just other accounts that I've grown. So like even in day 1 of using this content, you can see your growth change. So if you see over in the corner, they were at 2 views, and then we used our process for them. Cody was in one of their videos, 1.4 thousand views, and then 3,200 views on that one. And then on TikTok, 88 views to 1,000 views. So again, it takes about 28 days to actually get that large growth rate that I was talking about, but you should see some instant improvement if you implement these things today. So real quick, do's and don'ts. So if you think about adding value to your audience, you can do it in 2 ways, entertainment and education. So those are the broad umbrella categories. So if you don't think you're very entertaining, then start educating people about what you know, or build in public. People love things that are relatable. So building in public is a great way to educate people, like, hey, I tried this and this didn't work and this did. And so a lot of people will follow along that journey. Keep people in the app. So people like apps, like the longer you keep somebody in the app. So what that means is, like, if you have a YouTube video and you're like, hey, post at these times, and then at the very end of your video, you're like, but it only works if you do this one thing, and then you pin the next video you want them to watch that solves that problem you just created for them. So you're rabbit holing them to stay on the platform and watch 2 or 3 of your videos, and the algorithm really likes that, and so it'll push out your videos even more. The next thing is engagement. So 5 posts on each platform per day or 15 minutes, whichever one you can manage. I actually recommend doing it for an hour, and don't just do engagement carelessly like you're scrolling through your For You page and you just engage on stuff. That's not going to do anything for you. You need to be searching the keywords or the creators that are on your keywords list and your creators list and engaging there, because it does two things. If that video goes viral, you will get views even if you had posted nothing from your comments that you posted on that video, right? So it future proofs you. If you have a bad week or a bad day and you can't get content out, you're still going to get followers because you're essentially hedging against viral videos. And then otherwise, you're just creating a community and you're teaching the algorithm, like, hey, I belong in this space. I want to engage in this space. And so over time, I don't even have to do the search part of my process because I've taught my algorithm so many times what I want it to show me. And so when I go to script content for us, I can just scroll through my For You page and I can just engage there. But it takes time, and you want to make sure it's happening within your niche and in a strategic way. And then talk with your hands or be doing something in the video. So often people just do this much of their face, and you cut out about like 76% of your communication if you do that. And if you don't have a very expressive face, you've cut out a whole lot more, right? So you want to be doing something entertaining. Set expectations with your audience. So if you do this 90-day process and then you start posting random stuff and you lose followers, it's because you misset expectations of what they can expect when they come to your channel. As much as you think like, okay, I'm an educational channel and I am going to post this thing and it's going to be funny, you'll actually lose followers because people don't like things that they can't expect, right? And it's a hard lesson to learn. And so just make sure that once you know what your niche is and once you know what your topic is, when you're doing that 30% exploration, it's okay if you lose at that point, but don't go over that because you will lose way more followers and then you've wasted time. Model everything. So model what works. Make sure you're always looking at smaller creators and what they're doing because the platform changes. And so even if you do this for 90 days and you're like, I got it figured out, I know what's going on, you probably don't. And the smaller creators are always what's driving what's happening on the platform. So you want to look at what they're doing and what's working well for them and model those concepts. And then add text to your video and change background clips. This is related to watch and watch time. So say that like you create a video and you're like, well, I have no background and I didn't change background, but I have to release this video. You can crop the video. So clip it every 3 to 7 seconds and zoom into their face and then zoom back out. That counts as a clip change, right? And so now you're hitting that and you're keeping the audience interested. Or use B-roll, right? Or use an image for 4 seconds that you got from Adobe stock photos, right? Just change the screen and what they're looking at because people get bored just listening to you talk. And then post as much as possible. Don't sacrifice good enough for perfection. If you can only post one time a day, that's better than not posting. If you can only post 1 time a week, that's better than not posting, right? The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. So start now and do as much as you can, but don't not do it just because you don't think you can do it perfectly. Then put yourself out there. Be bold, right? No account grows more than when it's getting roasted. I know it's hard. I know it hurts, but I have seen so many accounts grow like wildfire because people come to watch the show, right? And they tell their friends about it and they care in some way, right? Because they saw your video to begin with. And so don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You might get criticized, but it is so valuable because you can learn from that and you can just get better and you just keep going. I see so many creators make the mistake of like, oh, I made this video and it offended somebody and I took it down. Don't do that. Don't do that. You've ruined all of the growth that you're going to get from people coming to see that video that somebody else left a video up roasting you. They left their video up. You might as well leave your video up that was authentically you, right? It's the best thing you can do in your favor. So my recommendation there is be bold, be broadly relatable. So when you're trying to target different niches and different types of people, right? So like for us, everybody has mental health, right? We have some yoga moms and some motorcycle dads, right? But they all have mental health. So we want to be broadly relatable to them. So like Gary Vee does this pretty well. He's got his trash talk. Okay. Everybody can relate to that. If you think of Alex Hermosi, he's another good YouTuber. He always eats dinner out, right? Don't we all wish we could eat dinner out? Or maybe we think that's outrageous, but it's relatable to us in some way based on some schema we have. And so that's what you want to be thinking about. Or if you think about Tony Robbins, he's got his like hand thing that he does where he's like, oh, yes, or whatever, right? And like I can see him in my brain when I think about that. And so you want to be doing something like that because it keeps you in the memory of your audience. Okay. And then consider context. This is the last thing that I'll say, but don't post an educational video at like 8 p.m. at night. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody's trying to learn at that time. And if like you're a like Christian oriented facility, don't post content on Sunday before 12 o'clock, right? Your people are at church. It doesn't make sense. So just think about that when you think about posting time. Otherwise, posting time isn't that important. And then this is actually my last thing. This is from verbal to visual, but this is a content flywheel. So you want to think about making a content flywheel. Like if you make soap, don't start making content about how to make water bottles because it's not a part of your daily life. And so you won't be able to maintain it, right? So for us, we make content about neuroscience and neuroscience news because Cody is always looking at that to deliver value to our clients, right? So he researches something and he's like, hey, I want to make a video on this. And then part of that video can be a long form video that goes into our membership area. It's also a concept that he applies to treat our clients. We get feedback from our clients, feedback from the algorithm, feedback from the comments, and then we use that to create a new video. Maybe it created questions, comments, concerns. So we create videos on that. And then we re-go around the cycle. So just making sure you're creating a content flywheel is so important to actually have sustainable content and growth for your page. And then that's it. I think I have a few minutes for questions. No? Yeah, I could do maybe like 2 questions if anybody has any. Otherwise, you're welcome to email me any questions and book time with me. I'm happy to give you my time and help you come up with a 90-day plan, create your creators list, whatever you need to grow as an entrepreneur.